New York City never truly sleeps. It only waits in the shadows of alleyways, in the silence between headlights passing on empty streets, in the nervous pauses between heartbeat and breath. In the summer of 1976, New York was already a city on edge. Crime was rising. The economy was collapsing. Buildings burned. Sirens were constant. The city felt lawless, tense, brittle. But no one yet knew that a different kind of nightmare was about to take hold. A nightmare written in bullets, signed with blood, and delivered by a man who claimed he was commanded by a demon. His real name was David Richard Berkowitz. The world would come to know him as the Son of Sam. The attacks were sudden, silent, and terrifyingly random. Young couples would sit in parked cars, talking, laughing, kissing, believing they were hidden in the quiet shadows of New York's residential neighborhoods. Then, gunfire. No warning, no confrontation, just explosions of sound, shattered glass, screams, and the sudden realization that death had been waiting a few feet away. The killer struck in Bronx, Queens, and Brooklyn, always at night, always targeting young women with dark hair, and always vanishing before police could react. Fear spread faster than facts. New York began boarding up its windows not for storms, but for survival. Women cut and dyed their hair. Couples stopped going out at night. Parked cars became symbols of death, and behind it all, a man was watching. David Berkowitz was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. He never knew his biological parents. His mother abandoned him shortly after birth. He was adopted by Nathan and Pearl Berkowitz, a quiet Jewish couple who desperately wanted a child. They gave him a new name, a home, and what appeared to be a fresh start. But something inside David never settled. From a young age, he was withdrawn, prone to violent fantasies, fascinated by fire, weapons, and destruction. Other children saw danger in his eyes before they could explain it in words. He stole, he lied, he tormented animals, and he burned things just to watch them collapse. Psychologists would later describe him as emotionally detached, chronically angry, and pathological in his need for control. But to the outside world, he was invisible. When David was 14, the only emotional anchor in his life disappeared. His adoptive mother, David Berkowitz, the one person who gave him affection, died of cancer. David collapsed inward. He felt abandoned again, betrayed by life itself. His father soon remarried and moved away. David stayed behind, alone, raging, and slowly slipping into a world no one else could see. In 1971, Berkowitz joined the United States Army. 2 neighbors, this looked like redemption, discipline, structure. A second chance, but inside, the darkness only grew stronger. After discharge, he returned to New York with no direction, no purpose, and no emotional connection to others. He lived alone, worked as a postal worker, smiled occasionally, spoke rarely, and watched. On December 23, 1975, in the neighborhood of Coop City in the Bronx, David Berkowitz committed what is believed to be his first attack. A young woman named Michelle Fullman was sitting in a car when a stranger approached and shot her. She survived. At the time, police believed it was a random act. They had no idea they were witnessing the opening shot of a citywide nightmare. By 1976, the attacks escalated. Berkowitz used a .44 caliber bulldog revolver, a powerful weapon that tore through metal and bone. He attacked couples. He attacked lone women. He attacked in seconds and fled in darkness. But the murders were only half of the horror. The letters came next. Mocking, rambling, gloating. In one of his notes to police, he wrote, "I am the son of Sam. Sam is a thirsty demon and he needs blood to live." He spoke of voices, of commands, of a demon living inside a neighbor's dog. and the city believed him. Media madness. New York newspapers exploded with coverage. Son of Psalms, Deluxe devil worship. Kill it strikes. Again, nitrogen monoxide one is safe. Every front page gave Berkowitz exactly what he wanted. Attention. Power. Immortality. He cut out articles, collected them, relived each killing through headlines and photographs. The city's fear kept him alive. As a boy, Berkowitz believed he was unwanted. As a man, he believed he was chosen to punish, chosen to be feared, chosen to be remembered. Psychiatrists later said his demon voices were likely delusions, products of untreated psychosis and deep resentment toward women, intimacy, and rejection. But to Berkowitz, they were as real as the gun in his hand. In July 1977, after nearly a year of public terror, police made a breakthrough. A parking ticket near one crime scene led them to a nearby address. All evidence began pointing to one quiet man, one postal worker, one invisible neighbor, David Berkowitz. On August 10, 1977, police surrounded his Yonkers apartment. When he stepped outside, they arrested him without resistance. His final words, "You got me." The nightmare was over. No more sirens in the night for him. No more shadowed parking lots. No more letters from hell. Inside his car, police found the murder weapon maps of attack locations and a handwritten confession. 7 people dead. 6 wounded. One city traumatized forever. The city breathed again. For the first time in over a year, New York slept without waiting for gunshots in the dark. People stepped outside without scanning every shadow. Women stopped cutting their hair out of fear. Couples returned to parked cars. Though many still flinched at every sudden noise, the terror had ended. But the questions had only begun. Because now the world had a face to attach to the nightmare. And that face belonged to a quiet man with hollow eyes. David Berkowitz. Inside the police station, the mask fell apart quickly. Berkowitz did not fight. He did not deny. He did not resist. He confessed. Over and over, in chilling, calm detail, he spoke about stalking victims, about waiting in silence, about the moment before pulling the trigger. There was no visible remorse, only certainty. And when detectives asked him why he did it, he answered with a voice steady as stone. "The dog told me to." Berkowitz claimed that a demon had possessed the dog of his neighbor, Sam Carr, that the animal spoke to him, commanded him, demanded blood tooth. Public, the explanation was horrifying. To psychiatrists, it was something else entirely. Delusion, psychosis, paranoid schizophrenia. But there was also something deeper, something colder, a profound and simmering hatred, especially toward women. Experts would later dissect Berkowitz's mind piece by piece. They found no single moment where he snapped. Instead, they found years of emotional abandonment, social isolation, sexual rejection, anger turned inward, and then outward. Berkowitz had grown up believing he was unwanted, unloved, invisible. And the murders gave him something he had never possessed before. Power. Power over fear. Power over attention. Power over life and death. For the first time in his existence, the world was watching him. The media CRCUSD trial became a spectacle. Cameras followed every movement. Journalists flooded the courthouse. Crowds gathered just a glimpse of the man who had terrorized millions. Newspapers ran daily updates. They didn't just report on Berkowitz. They fed him. His name became immortal in ink and headlines. And every camera flash reminded him he was no longer invisible. In May of 1978, Berkowitz stood before the court. 7 counts of second-degree murder. Multiple counts of attempted murder. He pleaded guilty to all charges. There was no dramatic defense, no insanity plea, no last-minute denial, only a quiet acknowledgement of what he had done. The judge sentenced him to 6 consecutive life sentences, one for each life lost. He would die behind bars, but even prison would not silence the echo of his crimes. Instead, Prison Berkowitz entered a new world. A world without darkness, without parking lots, without freedom. He was attacked by other inmates. Stabbed once, targeted repeatedly. Some wanted revenge. Others wanted fame for harming him. For the first time, Berkowitz was no longer the predator. He was prey. And in that environment, something inside him cracked. Years later, Berkowitz would quietly admit something that shattered his original story. The demon dog was a lie. There were no voices, no commands, no supernatural force guiding his hand. The real truth was quieter and far crueler. I did it because I wanted to. In the 1980s, after years of isolation, violence, and reflection, Berkowitz claimed to experience a religious conversion. He turned to Christianity. He began reading the Bible, writing letters to victims' families, publicly expressing regret. For the first time, he spoke words he had never spoken before. I am sorry. Some believed him. Many did not. For the families of the dead, no transformation could rewrite the past. Decade after decade passed. New York changed. Crime declined. The city healed, but Berkowitz remained locked inside concrete walls, a relic of terror, a living reminder of what once haunted the streets. He would never walk free again, never breathe city air, never see the night sky without bars. The monster who once ruled the darkness now lived permanently in fluorescent light. The Son of Sam changed more than police strategy. He changed how America understood serial killers. He proved that terror could be random, that monsters didn't wear masks. That evil could live in apartment buildings, work, government jobs, smile politely at neighbors. He also revealed something darker about society itself, that fear spreads faster than truth, that headlines can turn killers into legends, and that attention can become fuel for violence. In prison, Berkowitz aged. His face sagged, his eyes dulled, his voice grew quieter. He spent his days reading, writing, and watching the world change through a small television screen. In 2023, inside prison walls, where he had spent nearly half a century, David Berkowitz died. Not in violence, not in darkness, but in silence. But his silence did not erase the past. The Son of Sam shootings still live in documentaries, podcasts, books, and nightmares. And for those who lived through that year of terror, the fear never fully left. They still remember the summer nights, the locked windows, the panic. They remember a city that once waited for death in the dark.